You got to starve the doubt. Every single day, you wake up with two voices in your head. One telling you to rise, grind, push forward, and the other one whispering fear, uncertainty, and comfort. That second voice, that's doubt, and you can't feed it. You can't give it even 1 second of attention because the more you listen to it, the louder it becomes. Doubt doesn't just stop your movement. It eats away at your belief, your confidence, your purpose. You got to silence that voice, and the way you do it is simple. You feed your hunger instead. Hunger isn't about food. It's about drive. It's about waking up with purpose burning in your chest. It's about being so obsessed with the vision you have for your life that nothing can pull you off course. Your hunger has to be bigger than your fear, bigger than your excuses, bigger than your pain. Some of you want success, but you've been feeding your fear. You feed it by giving energy to distractions. You feed it by surrounding yourself with people who don't believe in your dream. You feed it when you choose comfort over growth. That's why you're stuck. But when you flip the switch and start feeding your hunger, something changes. You move differently. You speak differently. You grind differently. You no longer care what people think because you're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to impact. You're not chasing approval. You're chasing destiny. You don't need a cheerleader. You just need that hunger. And that hunger has to be constant. It can't be there just on Mondays or just when you feel good. It's got to live in you. It's got to show up when it's raining, when you're broke, when you're tired, when nobody's clapping for you. It has to show up every day. See, doubt is lazy. Doubt waits for you to be weak. It waits until you're tired. It waits until things don't go your way, and then it pounces. Well, hunger is active. Hunger doesn't wait for things to be perfect. It doesn't need motivation. It creates its own momentum. Hunger says, I don't care if I'm tired, I'm still going. I don't care if I failed yesterday, I'm getting back up today. I don't care if I'm scared, I'm walking through it anyway. You gotta remind yourself every day why you started. What's your why? Who are you doing this for? What's the vision that keeps you up at night? You've gotta hold on to that with everything you got. You don't have time to entertain doubt because you got too much destiny to fulfill. There are lives connected to your hustle. There's a version of you that's waiting on the other side of this grind, but you'll never meet them if you keep feeding the wrong thing. Hunger will take you places talent never could. Hunger will give you focus when others are distracted. Hunger will give you consistency when others fall off. Hunger will remind you that no matter how far you have to go, you're not stopping. That's the mindset you need. Not a casual interest, not a seasonal passion, but a relentless, fire-breathing hunger that won't let you settle for average. Because average isn't in your DNA. Mediocrity isn't your destiny. You weren't born to fit in. You were born to stand out. But you gotta be willing to put in the work. The moment you feel that fear creeping in, you got a decision to make. Do you feed it or do you fight it? Do you give it power or do you take control? Fear grows when you pause, when you second guess. But hunger demands action. Hunger tells you, well, let's go. Hunger doesn't care if you're scared. It tells you to move anyway. Hunger tells you that your excuses aren't valid, that your past doesn't define you, that your pain is fuel. It's time to starve the doubt. Stop giving it your energy. Stop letting it shape your decisions. You've been giving it the mic for too long, letting it narrate your story. But today you reclaim that power. Today you say, no more. You shift your energy. You start feeding your hunger with action, with belief, with relentless commitment to your goal. No more waiting for the perfect moment. No more waiting for people to believe in you. You believe in yourself. You show up for yourself and you keep showing up. Every time you push through the fear, every time you get up after a setback, every time you choose discipline over comfort, your hunger grows stronger. And the stronger your hunger gets, the quieter doubt becomes. Eventually, it has no place. It has no power. It has no presence. Why? Because you starved the job to doubt, and you fed the fire inside you. The fire that refuses to die, the fire that says, I've come too far to quit now, so let it burn, let that hunger rise. Let it become the reason you wake up early, the reason you go the extra mile, the reason you stay committed even when it hurts. Let hunger drive your hustle and never feed the doubt again. If you're too comfortable, you're too soft. That's the truth most people don't want to hear. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort is where dreams go to die. You weren't put on this earth to coast. You weren't built to stay still. You were built to evolve, to stretch, to push past the limits. But as long as you're satisfied with being comfortable, you're not going to chase greatness. Hunger doesn't live in comfort. Hunger lives in the fire. Hunger is born in struggle. Hunger shows up when you got nothing but a dream and the willingness to suffer for it. People say they want to level up. They say they want success, but they're still doing what's safe. They're still hanging around the same environments, still waking up late, still hitting the snooze button on their lives. You can't want greatness and cling to comfort at the same time. You've got to pick one. You either choose to be comfortable or you choose to be legendary, but you can't be both. The grind lives outside of the comfort zone. The hustle starts when the feeling stops. It's not about what you feel like doing. It's about what you're willing to do regardless of how you feel. That's where hunger kicks in. Hunger is not about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Some days you'll feel fired up. The other days you won't. That's normal. But the hungry, they move anyway. They show up anyway. They put in work regardless because hunger isn't based on emotion. It's based on purpose. It's based on the decision that says, I'm not going back. I'm not staying here and pushing forward, even if it costs me my comfort. Too many people want results without resistance. They want success without the struggle, but the two are connected. You grow through what you go through. You get sharper through pressure. You build endurance through pain. And most importantly, you build character when nobody is watching. When you're in that lonely place, grinding while others rest, that's where the real hunger is revealed. You find out what you're made of when your back's against the wall and comfort isn't an option anymore. Comfort wants you to play it safe. Comfort wants you to stay in the same circle, doing the same things, thinking the same thoughts. It tricks you into thinking you have time. That lies to you and tells you tomorrow is guaranteed. But hunger tells you the truth. Hunger reminds you that every second counts. Hunger tells you that while you're relaxing, someone else is outworking you. Someone else is staying up late. Someone else is sacrificing. Someone else is refusing to settle. And if you're not careful, they'll pass you. Not because they're better than you, but because they were hungrier. You've got to get uncomfortable with average. You've got to look at the life you're living and ask yourself, is this it? Is this the best I can do? If the answer is no, then you've got to stop tolerating comfort. You've got to stop negotiating with mediocrity. You've got to be honest about the fact that you've been playing small, not because you aren't capable of more, but because you've been too comfortable to demand more of yourself. That ends now. This journey to greatness isn't supposed to feel good all the time. It's not supposed to be easy. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. But you were called to do something bigger. You were called to lead, to rise, to break cycles, to change lives. And that calling comes with pressure. It comes with sacrifice. It comes with moments where you'll question yourself, where you'll want to quit. But it also comes with the opportunity to become everything you were born to be. That's why you can't get soft. That's why you can't get lazy. That's why you can't afford to get comfortable. The moment you start choosing ease over effort, you're letting your hunger die. You're letting your dreams get cold. And slowly, day by day, you stop chasing, you stop pushing, and you settle. Don't let that happen to you. Don't become one of those people who talk about what they could have done, should have done, would have done. Let your actions speak. Let your hustle scream. Let your hunger drive you to places comfort could never take you. When you feel that resistance, that moment when your body says stop, when your mind says rest, when your feelings say quit, that's the moment you push harder. That's the moment you grow. What's the moment you grow? That's the moment you prove to yourself that you want it bad enough. Anybody can hustle when it feels good, but champions, they hustle when it hurts. They hustle when it's dark. They hustle when they're tired because the hunger in them is stronger than the pain around them. You want to be successful? Then make your hunger greater than your need to feel good. Make your purpose stronger than your desire to relax. Get up earlier. Stay up later. Block the distraction. Do what others won't so you can have what others never will. Don't let comfort talk you out of greatness. Don't you dare say you want it bad and then sleep in. Don't say you're hungry and then show up late. Don't say you're grinding and then give half your effort. That's not hunger, that's talk. And talk is cheap. You gotta understand something. Your grind must match your goals. If you're dreaming big, Your actions better be even bigger. You can't chase a championship with a lazy mindset. You can't expect massive results with minimal effort. Every single day, you gotta wake up and ask yourself, am I working like someone who actually wants what I say I want? Too many people love to make noise. They talk about being successful, they post quotes, they wear the gear, they say all the right things. But when it's time to show up, to sacrifice, to commit, they disappear. Why? Because they don't understand what hunger really looks like. Hunger is not cute. Hunger doesn't care about Instagram likes. Hunger doesn't care how tired you are. Hunger shows up early. Hunger stays late. Hunger sacrifices comfort, time, pleasure, and even popularity because the goal means more than the moment. If you've got a vision to do something big in this life, then your grind must be louder than your mouth. If you want to be the best, you've got to train like the best. You've got to study, work, practice, suffer, and repeat every single day. Not just when you feel like it. Not just when it's trending. You think Kobe became Kobe just because he had talent? No, he worked while others slept. He practiced when no one was watching. He obsessed over the details that everyone else ignored. That's what it means to let your grind match your goals. See, everyone wants to shine under the lights, but nobody wants to sweat in the dark. That's where the difference is made. When nobody's watching, when it's cold, when it's lonely, when you fail 5 times and you still get up to try 6, that's hunger. That's discipline. That's the grind. That's the grind. It's not about having good days. It's about showing up on the bad ones. That's when the winners separate from the quitters, because the grind doesn't care about your feeling. The grind doesn't care about your mood. It only responds to consistency. You got to be real with yourself. If your dreams are big, your discipline has to be bigger. If your goals are huge, your focus has to be relentless. Stop saying you want to be rich, but you waste time scrolling. Stop saying you want to be great, but you skip the work. Stop lying to yourself. You're not hungry if you're inconsistent. You're not hungry if you're distracted. Hunger is not a word. It's a lifestyle. It's what you do when nobody's clapping. It's how you show up when things don't go your way. You want something different? You've got to move different. You've got to be willing to put in hours when others are sleeping, studying when others are partying, grinding when others are relaxing. That's what hunger looks like. And you don't do it for attention. You don't do it for applause. You do it because that vision inside you won't let you rest. You do it because the goal is bigger than the pain. You do it because your future is too important to gamble on laziness. You can't afford to go halfway anymore. You've done that already. You've played small already. You quit too early before. This time, you gotta go all in. This time, you gotta match the size of your dreams with the size of your effort. And let me tell you something. Effort is the great equalizer. You may not have the resources. You may not have the connections. But if you got work ethic, you're dangerous. If you've got heart, you're unstoppable. If your grind is real, eventually the world has to pay attention. You're not going to get it by doing the bare minimum. You're not going to build the life you want by being average. You're going to have to wake up earlier. You're going to have to stay locked in longer. You're going to have to put in reps that nobody sees and nobody praises. But that's the price. That's the process. That's what separates those who want it from those who get it. The grind is the bridge between the dream and the destination. You can't skip it. You can't fake it. You either live it or you lose. Every day is a test. Every decision is a choice. Are you choosing comfort or commitment? Are you choosing rest or results? You don't rise to your dreams, you fall to your level of discipline. So if you want more, you gotta give more. If you expect greatness, you gotta produce effort that matches. No more shortcuts. No more half-stepping. No more waiting for motivation. This is about discipline. This is about obsession. This is about waking up every day with something to prove, not to them, but to you. The grind is where the truth lives. You can lie to others. You can post like you're winning, but you can't lie to the grind. It knows if you're serious. It knows if you're working. And if your grind doesn't match your goals, you'll keep coming up short. But if it does, if you commit, if you sacrifice, if you stay locked in, then eventually your grind will take you exactly where your dream told you you could go. Talent is great, but it's not enough. Being smart is good, but it's not everything. You can have all the natural ability in the world, But if you don't have the hunger to match it, it's useless. Hunger will always outwork talent. Hunger is what gets the job done when talent gets lazy. Hunger is what keeps going when talent thinks it's already made it. Too many people rely on being gifted. They coast on what they were born with. But the truth is, raw ability doesn't win the race, grit does. The ones who are willing to go the extra mile to do what others won't, to sacrifice without applause, those are the ones who rise. Those are the ones who win. Hunger doesn't care how talented you are. Hunger doesn't check resumes. It doesn't ask about degrees or accolades. It wants to know, how bad do you want it? What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to do when no one's watching? Talent is loud. Hunger is quiet but consistent. Hunger doesn't skip reps. Hunger doesn't skip reps. Hunger doesn't make excuses. Hunger keeps working when it's hard. It keeps grinding when you're tired. It keeps fighting when you've been, or and eventually hunger breaks through because hunger refuses to quit. There are people out there with half your talent doing twice as much because they're hungry. Twice as much because they're hungry. They don't wait around. They don't hope someone gives them a shot. They create the shot. They don't sit around talking about how good they are. They prove it with action. That's the edge hunger gives you. It makes you dangerous. It makes you relentless. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to be the strongest. But if you've got hunger in your heart and fire in your belly, you will find a way to win. Talent can get you in the door, but hunger keeps you in the room. It keeps you growing, evolving, learning. It keeps you up when others are sleeping. It keeps you moving when others are stuck. Talent fades if you don't nurture it. Skill gets rusty if you don't sharpen it. But hunger grows the more you feed it. The hungrier you are, the harder you work. The harder you work, the more prepared you are, and the more prepared you are, the more unstoppable you become. That's what people don't get. Hunger creates habits. Hunger builds character. Hunger makes you different. Think about the underdog, the one nobody saw coming, the one everyone doubted, the one who didn't have the resources, the support, or the praise. But they had hunger, they had heart, they had grit, and they didn't stop. That's what makes champions. It's not luck. It's not raw skill. It's not raw skill. It's the mindset that's I don't care how far behind I am, I'm not staying here. It's the voice that says, I'm gonna get better every day no matter what it takes. That's hunger. It's what separates the good from the great. You can be talented and lazy. You can be gifted and comfortable. But hunger doesn't let you get soft. Hunger keeps you on edge, keeps you honest, tells you there's always another level. It reminds you that someone out there is working harder. If you're not careful, they'll take your spot. Hunger humbles you. It teaches you discipline. It keeps you from being satisfied. You might have won today, but if you're hungry, you know the job's not done. You know there's still more to prove. When life gets hard, talent isn't always enough to pull you through. But hunger will drag you through pain. Hunger will push you through doubt. Hunger will get up after failure again and again. Talent gives up when it gets too hard. Hunger leans in. Hunger says, this is where I grow. Doesn't ask for easy, it asks for opportunity. It doesn't run from the grind, it embraces it. That's the kind of mindset you need if you're serious about reaching the top. You've got to want it so bad that you're willing to do whatever it takes, no matter how long it takes. Some of the most successful people in the world weren't the most talented, but they were the hungriest. They outworked everyone. They outlasted everyone. They didn't take shortcuts. They took responsibility. They understood that hunger is a choice. It's a decision you make every single day to show up, to give more, to be more. And the best part, hunger is available to anyone. You don't have to be born with it. You just have to decide you want it bad enough. You have to stop waiting for motivation and start demanding greatness from yourself. Talent might make it look easy, but hunger is what makes it happen. You gotta put your head down and grind. You gotta be willing to sweat, struggle, and sacrifice without a guarantee. You gotta be okay with being uncomfortable, because that discomfort, that's where the growth lives. That's where champions are made. In the hard, in the lonely, in the unseen hours where only the hungry survive. You've been through pain. You've been through setbacks, disappointments, heartbreaks, failures. Life hit you hard and knocked the wind out of you. And maybe in those dark moments you wonder why. Maybe you question your worth. Maybe you looked in the mirror and didn't recognize who you were becoming. But let me tell you something. Pain wasn't meant to destroy you. Pain was meant to shape you. Pain is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of your rise. It's the beginning of your ride. What you do with that pain will determine everything about where you go from here. That pain is fuel. You either run from it or you use it. And if you're hungry enough, you'll use it. Every setback, every sleepless night, every door that slammed in your face show has a purpose. You didn't go through all that for nothing. You didn't survive that just to stay stuck. There's something inside you that's greater than anything you faced. But you gotta stop seeing your pain as punishment, as preparation. The greatest version of you is built through pain. Through pain, not through comfort, not through easy, but through the fight, through the fire, through the storms that were meant to break you but didn't. That's where strength is born. You gotta let that pain remind you of why you started. Let it remind you of what you've already come through. Let it push you when motivation disappeared. Hunger that's born from pain is different. It's deeper. It doesn't care about obstacles. It doesn't care about critics. It doesn't get distracted. It's laser focused. Because when you suffer, when you've lost, when you've been counted out, your grind takes on a new level of intensity. It's personal now. You're not doing this just for the applause. You're doing it because you know what it feels like to have nothing but a dream and the will to chase it. That pain taught you how to survive, but now it's time to thrive. Now it's time to stop using your story as a reason to hold back and start using it as the reason to go harder. Everything you've been through was training for what's coming. Those moments where you felt like giving up, not tough. That was building your mental toughness. Those nights you cried yourself to sleep, that was building your resilience. That fear you thought would break you, that was refining your purpose. But it's not enough to go through pain. You've got to grow through it. You've got to turn into power. You've got two options when life hits you: break or build. That's it. You either break down and stay down, or you let it build something unstoppable inside of you. Pain isn't pretty. Growth isn't comfortable. But both are necessary. Your hunger must be rooted in your reason. Your reason comes from your pain. You want to quit? Think about what it cost you to get here. Think about who's counting on. Think about the old version of you that didn't know if you make it out. You owe it to them to keep going. Let that pain fuel your fire. Let it be the reason you wake up earlier than everyone else. Let it be the reason you train longer, study harder, focus deeper. Let it be the reason you refuse to settle, because you've already suffered. Now it's time to turn that suffering into success. It's time to take that anger, that sadness, that frustration, and convert it into discipline. Convert it into drive. Convert it into daily, nonstop action toward your goals. Pain has already cost you. Don't let it be wasted. Let it pay you back in growth and victories in legacy. Most people try to run from pain, but the real ones, the hungry ones that use it, they don't hide their scars. They let those scars remind them of what they overcame. They let those scars fuel the next chapter. That's what makes them different. That's what makes them dangerous. They've been through too much to fold now. Too much to be average. Too much to settle. They're coming for everything they dreamed of, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. They understand that pain is the trigger for transformation. It's the spark that starts the fire. Don't wish your pain away. Learn from it. Use it. Let it drive you to become the version of yourself you always knew was possible. Let it separate you from the ones who give up. Let it sharpen your focus, elevate your work ethic, and push you to operate at a level most people aren't willing to reach. Because when your hustle's fueled by pain, it becomes unstoppable. You're no longer chasing a dream just for fun. You're chasing it with purpose, with urgency, with desperation, because you know what it feels like to be down, and you made a decision. Never again. There's greatness inside you, but it won't show up in the comfortable moments. It shows up in the pain. It shows up when you rise instead of retreat, when you lean in instead of run away. And every time you choose to keep going, every time you choose to use your pain instead of hiding from it, you're building a hunger that can't be faked. You're becoming a person who can't be stopped. You're becoming who you were meant to be. Let pain fuel your purpose. Let hunger drive your hustle. And never look back.